Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 9 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 Halloween themed papercraft projects to make with your Cricut over 20 days. Today's files are these adorable little cartoon pumpkin and candy corns. These are really cute and quick and easy to cut from your cardstock. I wanted to show how versatile small designs like this can be when you're crafting, so I'm showing you not one, but 2 projects to make with them. We're going to be making a greetings card, where we've got those stuck on the front, so I'll show you how to make all of the shapes in Design Space to come up with your finished card, and how to get your little critters sized to go on the front. And then we will be doing, can you guess what these are? If I turn it around, you'll see they are fridge magnets. So I used my Cricut to cut magnetic sheets into the shape of each of these so that they can go on my fridge and give my kitchen a little bit of full decor. I think we'll start with those magnets, so I'm gonna have a little show and tell session and show you the magnetic sheets that I'm using, but also give you a few other options for if you don't want to put the magnetic sheets into your Cricut, or if maybe you don't have the blade or the right type of Cricut to be able to do that. So there will be alternatives coming up too. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC24. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC24 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You will need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. These are the magnetic sheets that I've bought for this project. I found them on Amazon. These are A4 sheets, here we go, and they're 0.4 millimeters thick. The Cricut can cut up to a maximum of 2 millimeters, but I wanted to make sure these were quite a bit thinner than that, just to give it the best possible chance of cutting. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. You can either cut some little squares with scissors and put these on the back of your cardstock designs, or you can actually get the Cricut to cut out the shapes. Here are some that I've already done. You can see the magnet on the back, and then it's got sticky paper and adhesive under there, which is how I'll put the cardstock design on the front. Now, you can only do this if you have the deep point blade for the Explore Air 2 or 3, or if you've got the Maker or the Maker 3, you'll need either the deep point blade or the knife blade. You could try it with your regular blade, but I'm not sure it will cut through. You might need to do quite a few passes. So if you don't have those blades, there is still a way to turn them into magnets, or of course you could buy magnets that already come in nice little circles or squares rather than buying these sheets. And if you're using the Joy or the Joy Extra, that is what you'll have to do, because I don't think that your machines would be able to cut this magnetic material. So let's go into Design Space and see how to set up the designs for if you were going to be cutting the bottom layers from your magnet. This is what the 2 cute critters look like when loaded into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to get to this stage, then check out the schedule page for the Halloween Craft Countdown, and within there, look for the Foundation Learning box. There's a link to a separate tutorial and video in there on how to upload SVGs into Cricut Design Space. Each of the critters comes as a separate SVG file, so you will need to upload them one at a time to get both of them into your project. These do load in at a lovely size, which is perfect for cutting out to make magnets, but if you want to, of course, you can resize them. To do that, look for the width and the height box near the top of the screen. Make sure the padlock icon that connects them is closed. If yours is open, you can click it to close it. And that means you can type either the width or the height into the box, press enter on your keyboard, and the other measurement will change in proportion. But I'll be doing mine at the size they laid in at, so I'll undo that. And because I'm going to be cutting my base layers from magnets, I need to make a copy of those pieces. If you're cutting your magnets to size with scissors, or if you're not using magnets or using pre-cut magnets, then you can just ignore this bit and go straight to cutting everything out. But what I need to do is make a copy of both of the very bottom layers of both the candy corn and the pumpkin design. You can click the arrow in the layers panel to open up all the layers, then find the very bottom layer, which for the pumpkin one is this white piece, and press the duplicate button to make a copy. At this point, you need to pay attention to your particular type of magnetic sheet and how it's going to cut. Now mine, as I showed you, they came with a bit of paper on the back which covers up the adhesive setting. I'm going to position my magnetic sheets on my cutting mat with that paper on the top, because I think if I put the actual magnetic bit facing upwards, it might kind of try sticking to all the metal inside the Cricut machine, which would not be good. So I'm going to do mine the right way around with the paper and adhesive bit on the top, which means I need to cut mine at the exact same shape as the cardstock. If yours was cutting in reverse, a little bit like if you were using heat transfer vinyl, then you would need to mirror these instead, which you could do by going flip horizontal to cut the copy. So it just depends a bit on your particular type of magnetic sheet, but mine will be fine just to do as is. And then for the candy corn, I want that very bottom layer, again it's a white one, and duplicate. So that I don't get mixed up when I'm cutting this out, I'll change the colours of the two that will be done from magnet to a nice bright colour. And then that's all I need to change, so we'll go ahead and press make, and that will separate everything out. And I just want to draw your attention to this one, which will be my magnetic sheet. I'm going to do it from A4, and then because I want to add some tape around the edge of my mat to hold the sheet in place, I'll just move them away from the edge a little bit so I've got some more space to do that. This would ideally be best on a strong grip cutting mat, which is the purple mats. I don't have one of those right now, so I'm going to be using a green standard grip mat. Press continue and connect to the Cricut, and then browse all materials, and let's try typing magnet. So there's two options in here, magnetic sheet 0.5mm and 1mm. Mine is 0.4, so I'll go for the 0.5 one, and hopefully that should work just fine. Now you'll notice this is telling me to load the deep point blade in clamp B, so I'm going to make sure I go ahead and do that now. This is what the deep point blade looks like in the packaging. And this will work for the Explore Air models and the Maker models too. I've just got to try and get it out the packaging. There we go. So I've got the blade here. It's got a little rubber tip on for protection. Pull that off, and that's very, very sharp. And then drop that into the top. Like that, and it will click into place. There's a little magnet. You can see by pushing the end it comes in and out. And oh, that made a noise. I wasn't expecting it to. Okay, then let's take out that one. Why isn't that opening? That's weird. Oh, there we go. Maybe it's because I've never ever taken the blade out before and it was just not quite in the right place. I'll put my regular one just in that top bit so I know it's safe. Get my deep point blade, put that in, and close it up. Gosh, that's really tight to close. It's not like that on my Maker machines. This Explore Air 3 is new, I haven't really used it much. I'm still getting to know it. I much prefer my Maker. Alright, so that's in there. I've got my magnetic sheet on my cutting mat, and I've used sticky tape down all the sides. So I've got my side facing upwards, which is the one with the kind of paper that gets peeled off so it's sticky underneath. I thought if I did it the other way up, I'm just gonna get it all stuck to all the metal inside the machine, so we don't want that. One other thing I'm going to do is move all of my white star wheels over to the edges. Just move that around a bit so you can see. And these help to feed the material into the machine, but I think they might mark my magnets when they roll over it. So I've just moved those to the side. And then let's give this a try. Hopefully you can hear me as my Cricut machine is whirring, but you'll notice that it's going to do this cut 4 times. That's because this is a thick material, so in order to cut through, the magnetic sheet setting knows that it's going to need to do it a few times to get all the way through. So don't worry that it looks like it's doing the same thing over and over again. That is actually intentional. The Cricut's finished cutting now, but I don't want to eject the mat yet because I want to just check this has actually cut all the way through. And if it hasn't, then I can run it through again to try and get it to cut. So it's just... Oh, it has. Look, perfect. Look at that. Amazing. That's done a really good job. If it hadn't have cut through, you could have pressed the go button again, the play button, to make it repeat the cut in exactly the same place. But that one's all come out good. Let's see about the other one. It's a little tricky. I could do with a little spatula, but I'll try my weeding tool. Ooh, that didn't help because I just peeled the top off. But actually, that one is looking like it's cut through perfectly too, because I can peel all of the excess away. So that's great. Let's eject the mat, and then we'll see how to put together the rest of the magnets. I've now got everything cut out from my magnets and my cardstock, and I'm just going to glue everything together because I don't want these to become too thick. The magnetic sheet itself is quite thick. So I'll give this a go and start with the pumpkin. So I've got my white at the bottom, and then I'll put the black layer on top. Then I've got the green stalk and the tongue, which I think will actually be easier to glue to the back of the lighter orange so that I can get a better idea of where it's going. So I'll just add a little bit of glue there. I managed to get glue all over that then. That wasn't very clever at all. Just poke it out a little bit. Like that, and then we'll glue this on. If you wanted to make your magnets a little bit more durable, you could try maybe laminating them when they're stuck together before you attach it to the magnetic sheet. I'm not quite sure how it would work because it is quite thick with a few different sheets of card, but it might be okay. However, I think these are going to last just fine for the spooky season. Probably a little bit longer than that. As long as they don't get wet, they should be fine. Right, number 1. Leave him to dry and do the candy corn one. So again, we've got white at the bottom and black to go on next. And then pink for the mouth again. I'll do the same thing, turn it over. Add a little bit of glue, and this time I'll try not to get the glue on the bit that we'll actually be seeing. There. Got the orange next. And finally, the yellow. These are so cute. I love their little faces. Okay, now I can stick them to the magnets. So I'll peel off that paper. Nice and sticky. If yours don't have this and you don't have a sticky bit, then you could just glue it on. And then I have a feeling this is going to not be repositionable because it is really, really sticky. So let's try get it accurate. And I'm sorry if you can hear a weird noise on my audio. It sounds like someone has just started digging up the pavement outside the house. There's a very loud pneumatic drill just started up, which is not very helpful when I'm trying to record a video, but never mind. And then this one. Oh, they are adorable. They feel so sturdy now with the magnets going all the way over, and this is now ready to stick to my refrigerator. So here we go, that's one way to use these cute critter designs, but in case magnets are not something that you really fancy making, then I'll also show you in the rest of this video how you can put them on a handmade greetings card instead. I've started a new project in Design Space and I've got my little candy corner and pumpkin back in. To make a card front, go into Shapes and then choose a square. And then we'll size this to the front of the card and the back so it'll all be joined together, and this will be what's folded in half to make the base. So I'll untick the padlock icon by clicking on it, and then I'm making a 5 by 7 inch card. So my width needs to be double that, which would be 10. And the height will be 7. Let's make that a nice yellow colour that matches the yellow on the candy com. If you've got a scoring wheel or stylus for your Cricut, then it's nice to add a score line down the middle to make it easier to fold, but if you don't have those, you can just leave it off. To add a score line, go into Shapes and then choose a score line. Set it to the same height as the card, which is 7. And then with this scoreline selected, press Shift and click on the main rectangle, or you can drag around a box that just touches both of those to select them. You see in the Layers panel, they're now both selected because they've gone green. Press Align, Center to put the scoreline in the middle of the card. And then there's one extra thing you need to do, which is to press Attach down at the bottom of the Layers panel. And pressing Attach is what actually tells the Cricut that we want it to do that score line on the rectangle. Let's add a little bit of visual interest to the front of the card with some extra colours. So I'll go into Shapes again and choose another square and make this one a little bit smaller. So I'll take 1/2 inch off each side, which would be 5.5 wide. No, wouldn't it be 4.5 wide? And 6.5 tall. So 1/2 inch on each of those, smaller than my base card. And this can be, I think, the dark orange that matches the outline of the pumpkin. And then I'll do one more in the middle. I know that I've got some really nice kind of pumpkin pattern paper in my craft supplies, which I'll use for the middle bit here, but you could either print your own pattern if you don't have any already in your craft stash, or you could just use a simple colour instead. Let's click Duplicate. And then this time I'll just make it 1/4 inch smaller on each side, which would be 4.25 by 6.25. And I'll go for a blue. It's not actually going to be blue, but having it in blue will remind me when I'm going through all the cut screens that I want this to be done from my pattern paper. Next, I'll position these on top, and they are appearing underneath the card now. So arrange, bring to front to move it on top. And then they'll need to be a little bit smaller. The same on this one, arrange, bring to front. And this one can go down there. So I'm just roughly positioning these how I want them to appear on the final card, so that I know when it's all cut out it's going to fit. But that's it, that's the front of my card and the whole of the card actually, all designed in just a couple of minutes. I love how quick and easy it is in Cricut Design Space to add greetings cards around some images when you've already got some that you want to use. Then I'm going to go and cut this out, so I'll click Make and then get all my cardstock ready and cut all the pieces out. Then we'll see how to put it together. Here are the pieces of my card cut out and ready to be stuck together. I've already glued together the critters because I showed you how to do that for the magnetic version, so I figured you probably don't need to see me do exactly the same thing again. The paper I've used for that little rectangle is this one. This was bought from The Range, which is a store in the UK, and I can't remember if I bought it last year or the year before, so they might not have it anymore, but they do tend to release new seasonal paper packs every year, so just pop in, you might be able to get some, or you could look on the website. And it's quite nice because there was 24 whole sheets and it was only $4.49, which I think is a great price for scrapbook paper. Okay, so first things first, I folded my base card along that score line, and then I'm going to glue the two rectangles on top, starting with the larger one. And then this one on top. Now I'm going to put my critters on top using foam squares to give them a little bit of dimension. I'll start with the pumpkin over on the top right, although I will put this one into position just so I can make sure I'm happy with how that's all looking. I love how it is with those pumpkins behind it. I think that adds a lot of extra detail and character to the card. Up there, and then the candy corn I'll overlap slightly, so I don't want to put any foam right on this part because that's where I'll have it overlapping, but everywhere else can have some. And there's my card. It's really, really cute, and then I can add my message on there whenever I'm ready to write it and send it. As this is 5x7, it will fit in a standard 5x7 envelope, or if you'd prefer to make one, check out the Foundation Learning section of this countdown. There's a link in there to a separate tutorial with free SVGs on how to make your own envelopes, and that also includes how to write on them with your Cricut too, so you can get your Cricut to do the addresses. But for now, here are my two projects with my cute critters, the greetings card, and of course my two magnets. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and crafting along with me. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you tomorrow for day 10 of the Halloween Craft Countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!